Okay, got something else I've been fiddling around with a reliable thermite igniter. And there are, on YouTube, of course, there are a number of different schemes folks have used. I've been playing around with some of them, and some I like, some I don't. I'm going to tend to mess around with it a little bit. What you're looking at right here, right now, are two sparklers, toy sparklers. You can see the relative size. These are rather small ones. In fact, I don't think I've seen smaller ones. And these are dirt cheap. One of them as it came out of the box, this one, and the other one has been treated. I made a paint out of thermite, and it's nothing but a mixture of thermite and denatured alcohol, which in the case of what I'm using is a pure methyl alcohol, wood alcohol. And I could have used water. I may look at that a little bit further down the road for reasons. I use the alcohol because it will evaporate very quickly. You don't have to let it sit for days. This one that's been dipped in the paint, it has only one dip. The proportions, your mileage is going to vary very much. I've come to the conclusion there really isn't a very reliable way to coat these with the thermite to make them more reliable to ignite a batch of thermite. So nonetheless, I think there is some improvement over these, from an improvement of this over this for igniting thermite. These actually do, just by themselves, they say maybe a third of the time it just fails to ignite. So what, you start over, you put a new sparkler into your mixture and you try again. I like the sparklers because you don't need a torch to ignite it. There are other methods where you don't. Some of them are very interesting, and but a little bit more complicated and convoluted than I'm willing to do. So anyway, I've got them both here. I'm going to use a torch for the reason that I'm going to light both of these, and I want them to burn pretty much at the same time, so that you can see by comparing these two the difference between them, and hopefully you'll be able to get some information on what happens after. That one did get much hotter than the other. That's the goal anyway. Now I could light either of these with a cigarette lighter. It just I can't have that flaming while I'm trying to light the other. It takes seconds and too long to do it. So I'm going to use a torch. Again, this rod here is the untreated regular old sparkler with a convenient little tip of something on there that makes them a bit easier to ignite. And this is the same thing, only it has a fairly thin coating of thermite mixture on it. Here we go. Okay, there's a normal spark. You tell me by looking at this, if the camera doesn't blow it out. And I'm looking at this display here. I noticed the thermite coated ones, they're brighter now by my eyes. Well, with or without eye protection, they're brighter. Another thing I noticed too is that it's not doing so much on this one. See how it kind of fits and starts a little? That's the thermite coated one. And it's still going. Okay, it's out. Now, I'm going to carry you, actually, to get a better focus, I'll cut this and stitch it. See. Okay, here are the results from a side view. Pardon my lack of tripod. You can see this one, it's still plenty hot, is drooping down. the extra heat softened the steel rod enough to cause that, where the regular old sparkler, not so much. That is useful information. So these, if coated with a thin layer, now how thick it is, I couldn't tell you. But if coated, do get hotter and may be more reliable. I have not tried initiating a thermite reaction with these coated rods yet. I will be doing that, of course. As a matter of fact, Saturday, this coming day and a half from now, I've got some iron oxide coming, that some black and some red. I've already got aluminum powder ready, and so I can mix up some more. I'm kind of running low for these goof-offs. So that's what we got so far here, but I have, of course, coated these. I dipped them numerous times, and have been keeping logs of how much thermite, how much alcohol was used in that process. It's not quite congealed yet, but just as a heads up, heavier coatings of the thermite on these does two things. Number one, they burn so hot that it melts the rod, and because of that, sometimes the rod melts, and the let's call it the strawberry, the cherry, the hot part melts and drops off, and the thing goes out. That's on the horizontal. What they do in the vertical is a little bit different, in that if it melts, drops molten steel or iron, whatever these rods are, some iron alloy, it drops it right down onto your thermite pile, and most likely will immediately start the reaction. And so that's not quite what I'm after. Burning on the horizontal, they're a bit more well behaved than they are on the vertical. So that's something else to explore. Anyhow, that's where it is, and yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do this, but I decided to anyhow, primarily because I forgot to mention something in it. This paint I'm using, if you can call it that, is very fragile. Once dipped, you cannot handle these sparklers as you normally would. There are no binders to cause the thermite to stick well to the sparkler material, which I believe is barium nitrate and aluminum, or barium nitrate steel aluminum, something like that. At any rate, they're very fragile. You can't just dip them and expect to put them back in the package and have something useful once moved about. They won't. I have given some, that's why I mentioned water earlier rather than alcohol. It may be a little bit of a sugar or perhaps some cornstarch mixed in, might function as a binder that does not inhibit the reaction, the thermite reaction. Something to play around with. Anyway, I got this one, I forgot I had it actually. It's one that's been dipped 2 times. So it's got something like twice the amount of thermite coating on it that the other one we just had. And so this one may go out because the hot of it drips off. It may not. They say my mileage has varied quite a bit with these different sparklers, even out of the same package, have different amounts of chemical on them, and that's going to matter. So this may not be a very reliable way of doing it, but I'm not giving up yet. So here we go. Oh, that's bright. Don't look at that. And I don't know, you may, yeah, it's blue screen or blue lining the camera. It's hot. You see what happened? It might start up again. You have to be careful. But the part of the sparkler that has burned is gone. It's down here now. It melted and burned. And I can relight that, although that can be tricky because it tends to flash. So I'm not looking at this. There it is. And much, much vigorous. Plenty hot. Molten iron down here. Now the smell of burnt fingertip. Anyway, yes, it does function, but it is not without its caveats. More exploration later. If it's a dump, it's a dump, you know. Yeah. Getting some fun in the meantime, though, right? There.